I need you.
Father.
Did you fuck me?
What?
Is this some kind of incest thing?
No.
Then what the fuck is this?
Billy Butcher didn't die in the finale. He died the moment Becca did. Everything after that was just a man looking for somewhere to put the body. And I know that sounds dramatic, but stay with me. Because what The Boys just gave us in its final season wasn't a hero's ending or even a villain's ending. It was a psychological autopsy. 5 seasons of watching a man use revenge as a life support machine, and then watching someone finally pull the plug. So today, we're not talking about whether Butcher was good or bad. We're holding a funeral for every version of him that almost chose to live. So let's talk about who Billy Butcher is supposed to be. On the surface, right, he's the guy, the loud one, the one with the crowbar and the accent and the absolute zero patience for anyone's nonsense. He walks into a room and you just know this man has never once in his life asked for help. Never needed it, never wanted it. That's the bit he's running. That's the performance. But here's the thing about people who perform that hard. They're usually performing for someone, or performing against a version of themselves they're terrified of becoming. For Butcher, that version has a name, Lenny, his little brother, who died by suicide, and who Butcher never, not once across 5 seasons, fully dealt with. Like, that loss just sat there, marinating, turning into something else entirely. And then Becca walked in. And for maybe the first and only time in his life, Butcher had a reason to put the performance down. She wasn't impressed by the crowbar energy. She saw through it, and he let her. Which means when she disappeared, he didn't just lose a wife. He lost his only witness. And here's where it gets really uncomfortable. Because most people, when they lose someone like that, they grieve. They fall apart, they put themselves back together, maybe they go to therapy, maybe they don't, but they move. They move through it. Butcher didn't move through anything. He just redirected. Took all that grief, all that guilt, all that love with nowhere to go, and he built a mission out of it. Homelander did this. Homelander took her. So now everything, every violent decision, every burned bridge, every person he pushed away, it all gets filed under justice, under revenge, under doing what's necessary. But revenge isn't grief. It's grief in a trench coat, pretending to have a plan. And the thing is, it worked for a while. Having an enemy that big, that clear, that genuinely deserving of everything Butcher wanted to throw at him, it's almost elegant. You never have to sit in the quiet. You never have to ask yourself the harder question, which is not, how do I destroy Homelander? It's, who am I when this is over? Butcher never had an answer for that. I don't think he ever let himself get close enough to need one. And then Ryan happened. And this is the part that breaks my heart a little bit, because Ryan is Homelander's kid, biologically, undeniably, born from the worst thing that ever happened to Butcher's family. And Butcher knew that. He knew it every single time he looked at that boy. And he still chose him. Not immediately. Look, let's be honest. Butcher was not rushing to play stepdad to a soup kid with laser eyes. But slowly, reluctantly, in that very specific way that emotionally unavailable men love things, he chose Ryan. Started building something. Started holding on to his humanity with both hands for maybe the first time since Lenny died. And here's what Kripke actually said about this. That Ryan was the last reason Butcher had to stay human. Not justice, not the mission, not even Becca's memory. Ryan. This kid who had no business being loved by this man. And yet. So when that falls apart, when Ryan slips toward Homelander's orbit and Butcher can't pull him back, something just closes. You can almost see it. The last door. Shutting. And what's left on the other side of that door isn't a man on a mission anymore. It's just someone who's decided how they want to die. And the show actually tells you this explicitly. It just trusts you to be paying attention. Because in season 5, Butcher comes back with a virus, a supe-killing virus that would wipe every powered person off the map. And everyone treats this like a tactical decision. Like this is just Butcher being Butcher, scorched earth, whatever it takes. But that's not what's happening here. Think about it. This man is already dying. The compound V ate him alive from the inside out. We're talking a sentient black-veined tumor that has basically turned his body into a horror movie. He knows he's not walking out of this. So the virus isn't a weapon. It's a goodbye letter, written in the most Billy Butcher way possible. Loud, catastrophic, and technically aimed at someone else. He's not trying to save the world. He's trying to make his death mean something. Because a man who never figured out how to live will absolutely spend his last breath trying to figure out how to matter. And the saddest part? He almost stopped. Right there at the end, finger on the trigger, ready to release it, something flickered. Some last ember of the person Becca saw in him. And then, Hughie shot him. And I don't think we talk enough about what that moment actually means. Because Hughie shooting Butcher, that's not a betrayal. That's not even a tragedy in the traditional sense. It's almost like mercy delivered a second too late. Or maybe exactly on time. Depends on which version of Butcher you believe was standing there in that moment. Was he stopping himself? Or was he just slow? And the show doesn't answer that, which is honestly the most psychologically honest thing it could have done. Because that's what unresolved grief actually looks like. You never really know. The person themselves never really knows. Whether they wanted saving or whether they just ran out of road. What I keep coming back to is Terror, his dog, who dies right before Butcher goes to release the virus. This ugly little bulldog who's been with him since Becca, who Hughie literally saved earlier in the season, which briefly, just briefly, made Butcher feel like maybe there was still something worth protecting in his small, stupid life. And then, Terror dies. Quietly. Of old age, probably. And that's it. That's the last thread. Not a villain, not a mission, not even Ryan. A dog. And somehow that's the most human thing in the whole finale. So what do we do with all of this? Because here's the thing. The boys spent 5 seasons being loudly, aggressively political. Supes as celebrities, supes as weapons, supes as fascism with a better PR team. And that's all great. That's all valid. But underneath all of that noise, at the very center of the show, was always just this one quiet, devastating question. Can a person who was broken before the war ever actually come home from it? And Butcher's answer is no. Not because he wasn't capable of love. We've just spent 20 minutes proving he absolutely was. Not because he was irredeemable. The show goes out of its way to show you the ember that never went out. But because he made a choice. Early, probably around the time Lenny died, that he was the kind of person bad things happened to. And that belief calcified into identity. And identity is the hardest thing in the world to bury.